All right. Welcome to the weekly EKU football Zoom press conference, joined as always by head football coach Walt Wells, and we're joined today as well by student athletes Vincent Munlin Jr. of the offensive line and linebacker Braden Sullivan. So we're going to turn things over to Coach. Coach, if you give us your opening statements, then we'll open the floor up to questions. As always, either use the raised hand function or type your questions in the chat. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, guys, appreciate you being here today, and obviously disappointed from this weekend's events. Not happy with how we finished in the second half of that game. I thought we came out, did exactly what we needed to do, win the middle eight, and then to tie it up, and then we gave up some explosive passes that put us behind the eight ball a little bit, and had the turnover that definitely put us behind the eight ball and couldn't just catch up. Uh, Got to get those things corrected here in practice and make sure that we are ready to go for a really good Abilene Christian football team. But kudos to Southern Utah and their team and their staff for getting the win. And we have to be better, and we will be better. So moving forward, we got to have a great week of practice. We got to concentrate on the details and make sure that we have a total understanding of what we're doing. And with that, I'll move forward.
Michael Watkins.
The long trip to Utah, now turn your attention to a long trip to Texas. Talk about that and how you just kind of, with the team, prepare mentally and really and physically, for that matter, for those two long road trips.
Well, I think the biggest thing with the road trips are, they are what they are. I mean, you've got to go out and you've got to handle that with a maturity and understand some of it is some of these guys have never been out there. That's just part of it. That's not an excuse. That's reality. We have to do a better job of handling that. I don't know if that was just talking to the players and talking to the coaches. I don't know if that was a major effect, from being at home for 3 weeks and then going on the road the first time. I don't know if that, other than, I mean, you're staying on a mountain. I mean, you're bussing up curves and 25 miles per hour for 30 minutes and things like that. That's not an excuse, and I don't want it to be, thought of as an excuse, but I mean it's reality. And but we've got to go play in that element. And it was 14-14, then 21-14, and we fumbled the ball. And that had nothing to do with the altitude. That had nothing to do with the play call. That had nothing to do with how we finished the game and things like that. So I mean, we have to prepare for this week. To go to Abilene. It's a 2.5 hour flight, and but the good news is we're flying right into Abilene. We'll be right where we need to be, and we'll be ready for it.
When you look at, your team this season, there's been injuries. I mean, even, weeks before the season even started, you're losing very key guys. In the case on Saturday, Vito goes down. Can you give us an update on him and any other injury concerns going into another conference game?
Yeah, Vito will be day to day. We missed him in the second half of the game, obviously. But he had a lower extremity injury that, I don't think it was, I don't know if it's anything that'll keep him out this week or not. We don't know yet. It depends on how he heals. And it's nothing long term, I don't think. But it could keep him out this week. So we got to be prepared for that. And we've got to play better than what we played Saturday with that, happening. So, yeah, we've had some injuries on defense. We lost our two starting inside linebackers, and we had two really good starters, potential starters behind them, but then that just eliminates your depth and makes them get more reps. And we did get Frank Lee and Gabe Stevens back for the first time in a while. And so that was good to have them back out there, but we didn't know either one of them were going to play until Thursday. And so Sam Robertson's been gone on defense. And so, and he's still out. And, everything I understand he's cleared, but we just can't get him into a doctor to get cleared. So interesting. But those are things that we have to continue to fight through. And, but, next man up mentality. Again, I'll never make an excuse for any guy. We got to go out and perform. And you get your opportunity. Everybody wants that opportunity. When you get it, you have to take advantage of it. You can't, so, well, it's my first time in a while, or it's my first time. It's everybody's first time sometime. You got to go out there and you got to play. And, we're in a cover three, and, you should be on top of the receiver, and we're not. And those are things that we got to continue to make sure that they understand, make sure that they don't have dirty eyes. And it's nothing malicious. It's nothing anything other than that's what we have to do. And they made the play, and we didn't.
Last one for me, looking ahead to Abilene Christian, how important it is to go on there. And even if you don't get a win, you got to have a good showing, 1-1 in conference play now. But just talk about how important it is to regroup and get back at it this Saturday and not let that one loss in conference play affect as you move forward.
Well, I think that's the key thing you said there. I mean, we're not going there to have don't take this wrong, Mike. But we're not going there to have a good showing. I don't care if we have a bad showing as long as we win. I want to win, but we're going to win. But we cannot let Southern Utah game beat us all week. And that's the one thing we talked about in our team meetings. That's one thing we talked about in the player board meeting. And I think that's one thing that our players understand. I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll find out the day when we get out here at practice and we get after it. And there's no heat. It's cool today, so it should be nice and crisp, and should be fun. And everybody should be out there getting after it, and eager to get back on the practice field, and eager to get better, and eager to make the plays that it's going to take to win the football game against Abilene Christian, and which is a really talented football team. But they're coming off a shocker loss too. So, and I'm not saying ours was a shocker. I'm saying theirs was, and so they've got they've got some things that they're going to want to prove, and they're going to want to show who they are, and we have to be ready for everything. Again, you have to highly execute and play on the road. We did not do that Saturday, especially in the second half, after the first drive, and we have to get better.
All right, Forrest Tucker, ABC 36.
Hey, Walt, hope you're doing well, man. I have two for you, if that's all right.
Yes,
When
sir.
we talk about this UAC schedule, you guys are on the road and at home for the next couple, and probably, a few predating this week, back and forth and back and forth. How are you preparing the guys to make sure they can handle this travel schedule as well as your coaching staff?
Well, I think we came off an open week last week, so I gave them plenty of time to rest and to get ready for this first one. This is the roughest spot of the two, to be honest with you. I mean, when you go, they're 2-hour flights. It ain't that big a deal compared to a bus ride. We're used to 5, 6, 7-hour bus rides. So I think, we try to prepare anything during the season. We're trying to prepare to keep them fresh, to keep them, to where that they feel comfortable with everything that's going on. I think the biggest thing is the mentality part of it. You've got midterms, you've got all the things going on in their life that you have to, keep focus on how much you're spending with them, how much you're not spending with them. Are you allowing them time to get everything done? And so we try to keep the schedule consistent. And with the travel piece, like I said, flying into Abilene, this is an easier trip because you're flying into Abilene, you're staying in Abilene, and you're flying out. When we went to Southern Utah, we flew into St. George. We drove an hour and a half up a mountain. Then we drove 35 minutes back down the mountain to practice. Then we drove 35 minutes back up the mountain. Then we drove back down. And it is what it is. And it's not an excuse for how we played in the second half, but it is reality. And so we have to continue to understand that this one's not going to be as bad. You fly into Abilene, get on buses, you're at the hotel, boom, we'll work out here, we'll do everything. So, we've evaluated everything we did this week, and there's some markers that we probably missed on, and we'll continue to understand how to take those trips out west.
I got you, Coach. Last one for me. We look at ACU and you see that they put up almost 30 points per game so far this season. You guys are around 20-something. What's it going to take playing complementary football to make sure that you guys can make this a 4-quarter game and keep up with them, and they can also keep up with you perhaps?
Well, we're going to have to execute. We could have put up more points Saturday if we just execute and do the things that we need to do. There's mistakes that were made that are unexcusable, but that's coaching, playing, and it starts with me and it bleeds down through our whole organization. And, we've got sometimes some young guys doing things and we're probably asking them to do too much. And, they want to do it. They feel like they can do it. But then, we're the coaches. We got to understand what they can and cannot do and quit asking them to be put in those situations if they're not going to, the tape tells you, they tell you on the field whether or not they can get it done. And so we have to understand whether or not they can and ease them into it a little better so they can have success. I mean, I get it. Every time you go out there, you're learning, you're getting better, whether you're a freshman or whether you're a senior. But you got to make sure you understand the situation, and we've got to play better situational football.
All right,
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, kind of to follow up on that question. You guys are in the conference, the best scoring defense, allowing the least amount of points. But on offense, outside of Utah Tech, the lowest scoring. And obviously, the first 2 weeks play into that a bit as well. With the defense playing as well as it has this season overall, what are you looking for to get things really rolling on offense?
Well, we've got to get some consistency going, and we've got to get consistent play up front. We've had a kind of a turnstile up there a little bit, especially in our inside positions, and we've got to settle in. Our big freshman has been playing well, and he ran up against some guys that were a little different than what he's been playing against, and so he learned some things on Saturday. We've got to get consistent play out of our receivers, tight ends, and our quarterback to be able to move the ball. I mean, people are used to us scoring 40, 50 points. I understand that. We've got to play complementary football. I mean, you turn the ball over right there in that situation when we're 21-14. And I'm not blaming that on Matt. I'm not blaming that on anything other than that's what happened, and we cannot do that. I mean, we had, the last turnover, it was a turnover, but it was 42-21, and we were trying to go down and get a score. All right, he probably forced it a little bit. I can live with that. We cannot let them score, take the lead, and then come back and give them the ball. And, like you said, our defense did some good things there, but then we gave up not explosive, but because of where the ball was, but a wide open touchdown. We can't do those things. And, the margin of error is thin, and we have to continue to do it. But offensively, we have to just get some more consistency and work into it and make sure that we understand what we're doing and make the plays when they're available.
All right, Coach Wells, thank you so much for your time as always.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yep. We'll transition now to Vince Munlin. Vince, if you can share yourself and unmute yourself. Vince, thanks for joining us today. We'll turn things over to Michael Watkins. Mike, if you want to get us started.
Sees on offense and the offensive line, you guys have had some moving parts there, but just talk about as a leader on this team, what do you think you guys can do to fix the inconsistency that you've seen on the road as opposed to being at home and get that corrected as you all go on the road again this week?
Well, I would say one thing, because I've watched a lot of documentaries recently with all these pros and everything. I don't know if you know the Netflix series Starting Five with LeBron James and everything, and one thing I hear them say all the time, even when they break it down, is together. And that's one thing I think that we're still trying to build off of. And you got to understand, too, I've said this once before, we got a whole new team this year. We got all new different parts, new quarterbacks, new people in the offensive line position, people trying to understand. And I mean, I understand it's week 7 now, but people are still trying to get the flow, if that makes sense, get the flow of what EKU is, what EKU football is. And I think if we could just really build off and really try to really focus on the togetherness, just coming together and making things just flow. Because once we come together, man, because I know people see it on film, or see it on tape, we can get stuff rolling once we just settle down and we just come together as a group. So if we could just do that and just focus on that, we could do a lot of great things, even on the road. Because like Coach Wells said, the main focus is executing on a high level on the road, and coming together would do that a lot, do that big time.
What's the vibe like in the locker room following the loss? Because you guys know you've got to regroup quickly and then go back on another long road trip again this week. So what's the vibe like? What are you guys saying to try to correct the issues that took place this Saturday and fix those going into this week?
To be honest, I don't see a lot of down faces or anything right now. I think a lot of people are just excited. I mean, you would think after a loss like that, people would be upset and just get down, but we're like excited to get back out there and show people like that. That's not who we were. We want to show y'all who we are. Who we are and what we are is amazing, if you understand what I'm saying. Like I said, once we get rolling, we can do some amazing things. So I think the vibe is just great right now. It's just we want to go out there like today. We're having a players meeting. That's something that we haven't done in a long time. We're all going to get together and just talk and figure out what we want out of this, what we want out of this season, what other people want out of the season, and what we want to do moving forward. So we can just do great because we want to do great things. We have so many goals. We want to be undefeated at Royal Kid Stadium. We talk about it all the time: conference championships, national championships, all that different stuff. But we want to do those things, and all that stuff is still ahead of us, even after that loss. So I just think we're all just excited, just so excited, just to continue to move forward and just do great things this season.
All right, Ben Stover.
Hey, Vincent, love your name. Always have.
I love your name too.
Hey, from the spring and summer, yourself, Rhino, Duff, you guys that have been around for a long time have all had this very positive, confident outlook on this team and what you guys have. And you were just talking about that a little bit, but what has it been from the beginning of practices for this season that has built that kind of confidence with you guys?
I would say it's probably the people around us. It's the belief around us, if that makes sense. You got a lot of people in here that believe, and we haven't had that in the last few years. I mean, I know our record for the past few years say different, but I mean, we haven't had that. A lot of people that just believe, even after losses, you got people saying, okay, we got to go to the next game. We got to do better. We got to do better. We got to go do this, do that, all this different stuff. So it's just a lot more different. You got leaders like Ryan, me, Peyton Collins, John Stone, Jonathan Duff, people like that are trying to push this on the freshmen, push this on the young guys and everything. Because like we talk about all the time, that's the standard. That's the standard to our team, is to believe that we're going to win. The thing we talk about all the time is expecting to win. And that's what we want to do. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just all we want to do. And we really want to do that this season. We're really trying to push that on the young guys right now.
Well, and then, and Matt, of course, has experience with tough losses as well. But you guys that have been around for 4, 5, 6 years now, you've been through some adversity and things like that here in the program as well. So when you look ahead to Abilene, this is a big game this weekend. Of course, every conference game is.
Yes.
But when you look ahead to that, is the mindset, hey, if we don't get this one, we're in trouble? So from here, it's basically playoff football the rest of the way? Or I guess what's kind of the detail?
After that loss, we do realize that we're a little bit back to the quarter now. I mean, like I said, our stuff is still in front of us, but we are a little back to the quarter now. But I mean, like I say all the time, you got to go through something to get through something. And I mean, it's a fight, man. We just got to go out swinging now. Bottom line, I mean, it just is what it is. God allowed this to be what it is, and we just gotta see what God's doing and trust Him through it.
Love it. Thanks, Vincent.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Vince, one thing, something that Coach has talked about, you've talked about a lot is, having consistency offensively and, getting things going. You keep saying, once we get things going, we're a really dangerous team. Especially early and then at the very end of the game, it seemed like it took a while to get things going. To get going on the ground, and then through the air, you guys were able to eventually find some consistency. What's it going to take to have that from start to finish for you guys up front and for you guys as an offensive unit?
It just starts in practice and just everybody coming together. Like I said, just coming together and just understanding the goal that we have, that we want this season. I mean, it's not really too much. It's because practice makes perfection. I mean, you can't be perfect, but practice makes perfection. And so all it's going to take is just practice and everybody just coming together and realizing that loss is not who we are and that we can do way better, and everybody wanting to be consistent. Because I think that's the issue right now. People are, I wouldn't say scared, but probably a little overwhelmed right now, just with all the stuff going on, feeling like they have to do good and then try to be superheroes out there when all they want us to do, all the coaches want us to do is do our job. And that's the main thing that people have to understand, is just do your job, and that's going to build consistency. You understand? If you just do your job, that's going to build consistency, and we're going to go a long way. Trust me.
All right, Vincent. Thanks as always for your time. Really appreciate
it.
it.
Appreciate you. You have a good one.
All right, we'll now welcome linebacker Braden Sullivan. Braden, if you can, there we
How's it
go.
going?
All right, doing well, Braden. Michael, we'll turn things over to you with your first questions.
Defense and coach talked about being the next man up. What's it been like when you see a teammate go down and it's a key guy? How do you all keep the same mindset of, okay, well, it is next man up mentality, but for the guys that are out there, how do you guys work, or what do you say to kind of keep everybody's confidence together, even when you see a key guy go down?
Obviously it sucks losing a key guy like that, especially the way they go out. But it is next man up, and I think the most important thing is gaining their trust. And once I gain their trust, which I believe I have, I feel like that's all I have to do. I don't really have to say much for them to have confidence that we're going to be fine. I just got to show and prove that I can do what those older guys were able to do.
When you look at the loss on Saturday, obviously, Vincent talked about kind of putting yourself in a spot now where you have to go out there and start to build some wins. But as a team, what do you guys say to still keep it, one game at a time and not look ahead to the weeks ahead? You got homecoming the weekend after and all these other things. How do you focus on just at the task at hand and going 1 week at a time?
It obviously sucks getting a loss, but everyone understands that you're not going to win every battle, and it's fine. You just gotta fight through the adversity and stay confident. Keep pushing each other. Don't get down on each other, because once you go down, start breaking down each other, it's going to break down the whole team, and you just can't do that. So you just gotta realize to get to the next game, we got to go through this game. So you got to win this game and go to the next. So I think you just got to realize that, like I said, you're gonna lose games. You got to go through, like Vincent said, you got to go through something to get to the next. And we just went through something. It sucks, we got a good little whooping, but I think that's gonna wake us all up and realize, we got to take one game at a time. We got to focus and lock in on one game at a time. And then once this game's over, we can lock in on the next.
All right, Vince.
Hey, Braden, you look at the stats, and it's that inside linebacker crew's leading the way in tackles this year. Kyle's still up there at the top, even being out a couple of weeks now. Caden is starting to get more reps in games and stuff as well. So how do you think that, we've talked about that next man mentality, and that next guy has to step up. But there's a lot of younger guys now getting opportunities on defense right now. And does that bring some extra energy maybe to the field with those guys getting new opportunities?
I mean, you think so, you would think those guys would get, super excited. I mean, I know I'm ecstatic that I got the opportunity. I mean, I hate the way I got it, of course, but I'm glad and blessed to have the opportunity that I have. And, I'd hope those guys are, just as ecstatic as me, because, it definitely brings energy for me to the defense, I feel. And, I hope the guys are now getting their opportunities going to bring energy as well.
Did Jeremiah, is he still talking about his 2-point conversion catch? Is he living on that right now?
He hasn't really talked about it much that I've heard. I mean, just at the game, but not since, that was an awesome catch though. That was awesome.
What's the one thing that you're focusing on for improvement this week against Abilene?
I feel like just my pass drops. I feel like, kind of didn't drop where I needed to, and there's a few things that I got to work on to get better. And so I just say my pass drops. I don't think I have many problems in the run game as much, but I just, I got to be crisp in everything. So
awesome. Well, hey, good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for jumping on. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Braden, thank you so much for your time. Media members, thanks for hopping on the press conference today. We will see you all Saturday.
All right. See you.
Bye.